Hey everybody, it's Mike from Elite Entertainment, and today I'm coming to you from in front of a video screen. Why am I doing that? Because I've got a lot of video clips that I'm going to work into this lesson to give you some hardcore examples of what we're talking about. And what we're talking about today is prompts and prompting the crowd. And when I say that, what I mean is anytime that you as the MC asks the crowd to do something to kind of fill in one of the breaks of a song or to peak the energy at a party, that's what I consider prompting. And nowadays, I believe prompting is more important than ever, and that's why it's an art that you really want to work on and try to perfect. And the reason why I say that nowadays, because think about it, especially at a wedding, bar mitzvah, that type of thing. After the introductions are done, after you prove yourself as an MC for the introduction, there's really only two ways that you are going to stand out at a party as an MC. The people are going to hear your voice, see you interact, and really be impressed by you. The first way is audience participation. Those are the dances that we do, the line dances, the electric slide, cha-cha slide, the YMCA, the chicken dance, any of those audience participation type songs. And then the second way is prompting. Unfortunately, I don't know if you're finding this, but we're certainly finding it, more and more clients don't want audience participation at their party. So that takes a big chunk of what we can do as MCs out of our toolbox, and it leaves us strictly with prompts and prompting the crowd at parties. So like I said, I'm going to show you some examples as we go along and talk about how you can incorporate these and how you can be a more effective MC. But before we get to some video clips, I just want to make this point. Prompting does two things at a party. We're going to see some hardcore examples. It peaks the energy. It brings the energy up a little bit. It creates moments. It creates memorable moments at the party. But, and don't take this for granted, for a moment, you're subliminally putting the spotlight on you as the MC. The guests at the party are hearing your voice. They're seeing you interact with the crowd. And instead of coming away from your party saying, wow, that was a great party, they now say, wow, that was a great party because of that MC. So never take that for granted. These prompts, it's not like you're stealing the spotlight from the bride and groom or from the guest of honor, but for a moment they do put a little bit of the spotlight on you, and that's a great thing at a party. Okay, so when we talk about prompting, there are really two basic types of prompts. The first one is hand clapping. And usually as an MC, you use a hand clapping prompt to fill in a break of a song or a spot in a song where the energy might go down a little bit. This first clip we're going to see is one of our DJs, one of the Elite Entertainment's DJs, Peter Zanetti, during Love Shack. Now, as you know, late in the song Love Shack, there's that really long break and the energy kind of dives out. So instead of allowing that to happen, Peter gives a nice hand clapping prompt and he maintains the energy at the party. Let's take a look.
All right, clap those hands on the dance floor. Put them together. Nice and high. Put them up.
So obviously there are a lot of rock and roll songs that have breaks like this. Old time rock and roll, great example late in the song. Moni Moni, Billy Idol's version of Moni Moni, has multiple breaks like that you as the MC can use to fill in some hand clapping and maintain the energy. But hand clapping is not just for rock and roll songs. You can do it during club songs, during dance songs. A lot of dance songs have a break where if you're mixing, you can mix out at the break, but if you choose not to beat mix out of it, that's a great opportunity for you to fill in that gap as an MC and maintain the energy. So we'll watch a clip next, one of our DJs, Davide, and Party Rock Anthem. He takes the kind of the break of Party Rock Anthem where the energy would have gone down. He gets a hand clapping prompt and he gets the crowd doing it. Then he puts the spotlight on the bride and groom, which I'm proud of Davide. He uses their first name. I'm a big stickler about that. I want to hear first names all the time, not bride and groom, bride and groom. He puts a spotlight on the bride and groom and he kind of peaks the energy. It's a great moment. Let's watch Davide do it. Get him up, get him up, get him up.
Laura and Anthony. I really want to see you guys go crazy. One, two, here we go. Have a good time.
All right, just one more hand clapping rap here, prompt. This is Jay Thompson, and he does the hand clapping prompt in the beginning of the cha-cha slide. Now you might say, well, why would you do that as an MC? Because who does cha-cha slide? DJ Casper, I think it is. Casper does it himself. He tells the crowd, but my philosophy is the only person giving prompts at a party is me. I'm the MC, I'm in charge. The only person giving prompts to my crowd is going to be me, and apparently my DJ is sharing that philosophy. You'll see Jay Thompson giving a great prompt to the beginning of Cha-Cha Slide.
You need to see those hands, everybody. Come on, get them up, get them up. Like I said, we're going to start it to the left now, everybody.
All right, so the two main types of prompts are hand clapping, and then the second one, have you figured it out? Is sing-along. That's a sing-along prompt is something you'll do all night long. You'll do a lot of them. There are so many great sing-along songs, choruses that people just love to shout out loud. First one I'm going to look at is a wedding that I did during the song Respect by Aretha Franklin. I get the ladies especially to sing the spelling part, R-E-S-P-E-C-T. The key to this prompt, and really any prompt, is timing. You'll notice how I give the prompt right before I want them to sing it. And that really is the key to making you sound like a true professional. If you come up too early, you sound like a rookie. If you say everybody sing along and you're not at that point yet, you come across like a rookie. And if you say that too late, then you've missed the moment. If that R-E-S-P-E-C-T part starts and then you go, oh yeah, sing along, then you've really missed the moment. So you've got to get to know these songs that you're going to use regularly, get to know them like the back of your hand, and really figure out exactly where you want to give that prompt. Let's check out me doing it at a recent wedding. So our next sing-along prompt is going to be Marshall Moore. He's doing this at a wedding, Living on a Prayer. And yes, it's a Jersey thing. We play that song a lot. 80s music is hot right now too. But you'll notice something here. Now again, Marshall's timing is perfect. He asks for the sing-along just as he wants it. But you'll notice something else, and this is something I teach and preach with my DJs. When Marshall asks for it and the crowd does it, he says, hey, great job, or that's what I want to see, that type of thing. I'm a firm believer in giving a reward like that. If you ask a crowd to do something and they respond and you ignore it, well, next time you might not get that response. But if you ask a crowd to do something and they do it and you go, great job, or that sounds awesome, or you look great, you've rewarded them. And you're going to be much more likely to get as good, if not a better response later. So let's check out Marshall Moore and Living on a Prayer.
Sing it. Great job. We're going to move it over here. Nice. That's what I want to see.
Paradise by the Dashboard Lights, another one of those songs that is just natural to do a sing-along with, you know, getting the ladies on one side, the guys on the other. And we're going to take a look at a clip. Rich Savner, one of our great DJs, doing the prompt and getting everyone singing along. Before I do that though, I want to point out something. A lot of these video clips you're seeing our MCs, myself or one of my MCs, out in the crowd with the cordless microphone, really interacting with the guests. To do proper prompting, you don't necessarily have to be on the dance floor. I know DJs from across the country, not every DJ has that style. Not every DJ gets out in the crowd. Some guys stay behind their table and they DJ from back there. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's not my philosophy, but you can do it. But you still should be prompting on the microphone. As a matter of fact, when we go back to the timing point, if you're back behind the table, it's easier than ever because you can have written down exactly where the chorus of a song starts. You can be looking at your time code and you know exactly if the chorus comes in at 2 minutes and 8 seconds and you say sing along at 2 minutes and 6 seconds, then you'll be perfect. It's harder to do that when you're out on the dance floor because you have to be interacting and you're dancing and drunk guys are you know, putting their arm around you and all of that other thing that we go through, and yet you're still keeping an ear out for the music and trying to get the timing right. But I point that out because I don't want you to see these clips. If you're the type of DJ who does DJ from behind his table and you see these clips, I don't want you to go, oh, I guess I can't do that. You can do it. You can do the prompts from back behind the table. You could never work for me. But this is Rich Sabner in Paradise by the Dashboard Lights.
It's a tough act to follow. You gotta do it. Come on, fellas, tell them.
Baby, baby, let me sleep on it. Let me sleep on it. I'll give you an answer in the morning.
We Are Family is probably one of the hardest prompts to nail because of two reasons. First of all, unlike most songs that start verse, chorus, We Are Family starts with the chorus. So the first things that Sister Sledge sings, that's not easy to say, is We Are Family. And it's got such a long, especially the version we use, has such a long intro. So it's really hard to nail that prompt and to time it perfectly. Obviously, I'm going to show you a clip where I got it right, because every once in a while I do get the timing wrong on this. But this is a situation, a wedding that I did, and I voice it up, and I prompt it, and my timing is perfect. I get people singing along just when I want them to.
Because that's what we are tonight. You should and keep bringing everybody together as one big family on the dance floor. You guys know the words to this one. We want to hear you sing it loud and proud. Are we ready? 3 words to sing out loud. Here we go. Let me hear you now. We are family. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got all my sisters with me. We are family.
Most DJs are sick of playing Celebration, right? We love it when that song is on our do not play list and we don't have to break it out. But sometimes it's requested, and sometimes as a DJ you might even think that it's going to work. Well, if you're going to play Celebration, you might as well have some fun with it and get people singing along. Here's a clip of Jay Thompson doing that exact thing with the Yahoo parts. Again, watch his timing. Jay Thompson is great at timing it perfectly, and watch the reaction he gets from his guests.
Can we get a Yahoo? Not bad, but we're gonna blow the roof off this place, everybody. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
I've got one more sing-along clip for you. I just want to throw this one in just in case you're getting the perception that sing-alongs are just for older songs. There's not. There's plenty of newer songs nowadays, and I'm sure there will be for all time to come that have choruses or some part of the song that people like to sing along to. So this is a clip of me doing a wedding, and I'm getting the guests singing the I Don't Care part to Icona Pop's I Love It.
Come on, we wanna hear you. Sing.
So before I wrap up this segment, I just want to make this point, especially with hand clapping and singing along. You're going to be giving these prompts a few times throughout the night, and it's important that you don't be redundant because people will get sick of hearing the same thing over and over. So in other words, you know, a perfect way to get people to sing along at the chorus is to say, hey, everybody sing. But if you say, hey, everybody sing, hey, everybody sing, hey, everybody sing 15 times throughout the night, it gets a little bit redundant. So before you are in that moment and you can't think of anything else to say but, hey, everybody sing, I think a great exercise for you to do is sit down and try to figure out 10 different ways that you can say, everybody clap your hands. and 10 different ways that you can say, hey, everybody sing along, so that you can pull those out of your toolbox when you need, and you're not being repetitive and redundant and saying the same things over again. So that's a great exercise to work on. Obviously work on the timing of these songs so you know exactly where the prompts are going to come in, and you will sound like a complete professional.
Hi, I'm DJ Michael Joseph, and today I want to talk about song structure and why knowing the songs and knowing how they're structured is important to mixing. Now, you may already know how to mix, or you may not even care about mixing, but what I'm teaching you today is basic song structure so that whatever way you do what you do, you're going to be able to do it more efficiently. I'm going to break the whole thing down into 3 sections, and then those 3 sections I'm going to break down a little bit further into what parts of the song are what, how to count them, etc. The 3 parts that we're going to cover today, the big sections, are how do you count, what are you counting, and why are you counting. The first thing we're going to talk about today is how to count a song. And we're going to break down the song into sections, to the smallest sections, so you know what you're doing. And some of the things that we're going to cover today are beats, bars or measures, phrases, verses, and what I think is the most important, the 8 count. Now, it's pretty simple to break down a song. Everybody knows what a beat is. It's the first kick drum or the hit of the song. That's a simple beat. There's one of those, and that's what a beat is. So we're going to build up from one beat, one hit, okay? So 1 beat equals 1 count. 4 beats equals a bar or measure. Now, some people call them bars, some people call them measures. They're both the same thing. So 4 beats in a 4/4 count song, and we're going to talk a little bit about 4/4 count here in a little bit, but 4 beats is 1 bar or measure. 16 beats, or 4 bars, is a phrase. 16 bars, or 64 beats, is 1 verse. Now, this is what I call the most important part about counting. A lot of people don't cover it. It's not really in music theory. But for what we do in the DJ world and stuff, I think the 8 count is one of the most important things. And the reason why that is that you have 1 line of rhyming completed on a rap song, or 2 8 counts for a song that's being sung. So as each one of those phrases is being done, a line is being started and a line is being completed, is within an 8 count or 2 8 counts. And that's why I think the 8 count's important. Now, most of the songs that we deal with as DJs are done in 4/4 time, and that's what I'm basically going to focus on today is 4/4 time. Now, 4/4 time simply means that there are 4 counts or 4 downbeats to each bar or measure, and that's simply as in if it was like a house song, you'd hear 4 kick drums, boom, 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 that's 4. Or some of the hip-hop songs do a boom clap or a boom snare, which would be a kick drum and a snare, and it would be 1 2 3 4, kick, snare, kick, snare. And that's the basic counting of the 4/4. So there's 4 per bar there, whether it be 4 kicks or a kick and a snare and a kick and a snare. There's still 4 beats in each bar or measure. So now we've broken down the song into the simplest beats and measures so that you know what each one is, a kick, a snare, how to count them, stuff like that. So now we're going to look at why you are counting, because it's important, that you know what you're doing and why are you doing it. You're counting to measure up or count up each section of the song. And this is where we take it from the simplest beats. We're going to take it up to the next part. We're going to kind of put songs together in a modular way. And we're going to break down each section of the song and show how many beats or bars or measures or whatever way we're measuring it per section of the song. Now, most songs are done in a basic style. Not all of them fit into that. And we're going to cover both the typical and the non-typical in this. The first one we're going to look at here is the basic one, and basically you're going to find a song that has an intro, a first verse, and some verses, depending on how the song is written, is double length. Some are single, some are double. You can have a chorus. Now with the chorus, the funny thing is that you can have a pre-chorus or a post-chorus, and those could be a simple phrasing before you drop into the chorus, or a simple outro of the chorus, an instrumental before you go into the next verse. But you're going to come out of a verse into a chorus, then into a second verse, then into another chorus, and then on basic song structure, you're going to see bridges, or some people call them middle eights, and they're kind of a breakdown, like, in the old hip-hop days, they were called breaks, and it was a section of the song where it differentiates highly from where the rest of the song is. Most people call them bridges, but it kind of depends on what you want there, and that usually comes after the second chorus and before the third verse. Now, also, as the third verse comes in, just like the first verse is doubled, sometimes the third verse is done in half, for whatever reason, to keep the song with energy up like that. And then sometimes you'll hit the chorus after that, sometimes you won't, sometimes you'll just leave that third verse and drop out into an outro, or, it could be some sort of instrumental out like that. But that's kind of the way it's broken down. Now, every song does not fit that song structure, and there's a wild range of putting things together, and I don't think there's a wrong way. I've heard people talk about the perfect song written the perfect way. I kind of think that can fit with anything depending on what you like. And one of the songs we're going to talk about today is by Lady Gaga, and it's Poker Face, and it's very different than the structures of songs that we were just talking about. But yet again, it was a hit, everybody knows it, and it's very catchy. And we're going to break it down so you can take a look at see what it looks like in that basic song structure of intros, outros, bridges, choruses, etc. Now, if we take a look at her song here, there are 4 beats, 4 counts coming in, 4 8 counts coming into the song that have no beat whatsoever. It's just part of the instrumental coming in. Then after that, you get 2 8 counts of that instrumental, now with a beat. Then she jumps straight into verse 1, and verse 1 is 4 8 counts. As you can see there on the thing, and we're going to look at and color code it that way too. And she does have a pre and post chorus to every chorus, and that's what she comes out of the first verse into the pre-chorus, which is 4 8 counts. The chorus is 4 8 counts, and then there's a quick 2 8 count out post chorus. Then she goes into second verse, which is 4 8 counts. Then 4 8 counts on the pre-chorus, 4 8 counts on the chorus, and back again to 2 8 counts on the post-chorus. Now we're also going to look at 2 8 counts of just kind of an instrumental thing there prior to the bridge. Now this is the radio edit, keep in mind, the album version. So it drops out of some of the versions you might have remixes, etc. won't go this way, but this is the album version, and it drops out of the post-chorus to the second chorus into 8 counts of instrumental, and then we go to 4 8 counts of the bridge. And that kind of drops across there, and she has no third verse. Keep that in mind. She drops right back into that whole loop of that chorus again, because after that bridge, she does 2 8 counts of chorus with no beat, where she kind of does these words over top of it, and it kind of breaks up the energy and makes a longer bridge. And then she just drops straight in after that, no third verse, into 10 8 counts of her chorus repeating itself, and then it goes out at the end with 6 8 counts of the post-chorus. And that's how her song breaks down. And it's not typical structure, but yet again, you can still see the areas that if you wanted to mix, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next section, what each section is and why is that important to knowing them for mixing. Now that we know each section and how to count it, breaking it down from the simple first beat to the chorus, to the bridges, to the whole section, we want to know why you're counting and why that's important to all of this. How to build the beats into the bars and phrases, into choruses, and into the whole song, and why that's important to break that down. We want to know 3 things in this section. We want to know where you are mixing, where in the song, when you are mixing it, at what point in the flow of the song do you choose to mix that where. And the final part is to know why you're mixing it. Is there a reason that you're mixing an intro over a bridge or an intro over an outro? And that's kind of what the third section breaks down is, why are you counting so you know these things. You know where you are, when you are, and why you are mixing in that exact section. If you look at each song this way and break it down into segments, you'll always know how to put 2 songs together, because there are always ways to put 2 songs together. I've heard people say, well, that song's unmixable. There are no songs that are unmixable as long as they have a steady count and they can be put together with anything that's within that same beats per minute range. And that's what we're going to take a look at right now. So if you build everything up into the sections so you know the parts of the song, you know a bridge, you know a chorus, and not only knowing it by counting it, but knowing where it's at, like grabbing one of Lady Gaga's songs and going, oh, there's no third verse, to where other songs you would know there is a third verse. Do I want to mix out before that third verse. So it's important to know the parts of the song. You need also to know where you want to or can mix. So if there is a bridge that's an instrumental, you can use that. But if the bridge has words to it, there's a chance that you may be putting words over words depending on how songs intro, outro, whether you're dropping them in as a counted mix, a blended mix, or a straight cut. And also the importance of counting them takes you to the third one, and that's how long do you have to do that transition. You know, if there is a short amount of time on the intro or the outro or the bridge, you know that the outro has 4/8 counts out, and that's how long you have to do that. So that if your intro is, 2/8 counts, you're going to have to cut that out before the outro is fully out. You have to cut the outro fully out before it's out. And we're going to look at two of the diagrams here on how to just kind of like, slap them together like they're pieces of the puzzle. Now, diagram one we're taking a look at is just simple intro, outro mixing. Nothing else, nothing fancy. And we are looking at putting a single 8-count intro over top of the last words of the song, and then where the last word of the song you were playing ends, it'll end on the 8 count. On the very first one, and that's where that phrase comes from, drop it on the one, you drop in the first word of the next song, so that when the song that was originally on ends, the word of it ends, it's going to have 8 counts out of a beat, and that's where you overlay it into the next song if you choose to. You don't always have to do that. You can actually look at the next one and you can cut it straight out. As soon as it comes in, do your 8 counts in with the instrumental of the intro of the song coming in. And as soon as the end of the last word of the chorus or wherever you choose to mix it ends, you cut that sound out, and the first word of the song coming in, the new song, is going to be right on the one. So there are no dead air times. There's no sections where there's just a beat dropping. Nothing fades off. You don't lose any energy. You just keep that going throughout the whole thing. So now you know if you break all of these songs down simply as you can like that, from the simple beat right on up to sections and stuff like that, you can piece songs together, song after song, all night long, just like they're pieces of a puzzle, and make them fit perfectly. And that's what mixing is taking those, breaking them down, and then adding little flares into that to whatever you're doing, whether you're scratching, whether you're doing blending, whether you're doing effects, all the different things you can add to that. But that's the basics of looking at a song, how it's structured, and picking where you can mix it. So if you're into short mixing to where you might want to do, you've heard a lot of DJs do it where they'll bring in, a verse, a chorus, and out of the song that quick into the next, chorus of a song, or, catch the hook of a song and just loop the hook of the song and in and out, and that kind of makes a very high energy night. But there are other people that might want to do a wedding where they simply just want to play the whole song but transition nicely from one song to another, and that's what you can also do that with these, where you break them down and you know where they're at. So now that we've taken a look at that, I hope that helps. If you guys have any question, always feel free to contact me. I love to talk about this stuff and work this stuff, and there are going to be more videos in the future where you're going to see me mixing this stuff and showing you live how to do that. But I wanted to break down the first part in my classes to show you that you have to know how to break it down to put it back together. So that's kind of the importance of the whole thing in the counting. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, ask questions if you have questions. But until next time, this is DJ Michael Joseph saying take care and God bless.
Hi, Mitch Taylor here with Disc Jockey News Virtual Training, and I wanted to answer a question today that came up in our Sales is Solutions private group. Now, Sales is Solutions is a private group based upon the attendance at the Sales is Solutions workshop that I had the pleasure of hosting now. We have about 40 members in our group now, and if you're interested in being a part of it and actually workshopping through each part of the sales cycle and getting critique from a Gittimer certified advisor, that's me, then you would sign up at mitchtaylor.net. Our next one is coming up on March 2nd. But this question came up in our group, and I asked the person that asked the question if it would be okay if I shared it on a Disc Jockey News virtual training. He said yes, absolutely. So here's the question today. This is from Scott Eichler of Sounds Good DJ Entertainment out of New Zealand, and he asked the question like this. Sorry to be a pain, I really would like a little help. I have always believed that word of mouth is by far the best advertising you could ever have. However, branding your business is something I believe you have to do on an ongoing basis. When I performed for a 21st birthday celebration 9 years ago and the same client wants to book me for their 30th birthday or wedding, they don't always remember the business name or the phone number, so they need to find us. With all that said, do you advertise? Does anyone here advertise on a regular basis? I would like to learn a few ways to word an advertisement that captures the heart of a bride and wants to make them take their mouse one click further. Please note I am wanting help with the wording for listings on wedding websites. I would appreciate any input from members. Scott, thank you very much for this question, and I hope that this not only helps our Sales and Solutions team that we have, our past attendees of the workshop, but that it also helps you, the Disc Jockey News virtual training viewer. So let's start from the beginning, right, on this whole thing. And the first thing is branding and where to advertise. So first you want to go back to number one, who are you? Who do you want to be? And who do you want to serve? Those are the first three questions that I want to make sure that you answer correctly. So who are you? Are you happy with weddings? Can you absolutely, like myself, not stand drunks? And maybe probably wouldn't be a great fit to be a bar DJ or a club DJ at that point? Do you love school events? Do you just get totally excited when you see, teenagers just jamming to themselves and having so much fun on that dance floor? Who are you as a DJ? Who are you as a company? Who do you want to be? Think about where you're at right now in your business and in your DJ career. And now, are you where you want to be? I'm assuming that by watching this, you're probably not exactly where you want to be and trying to become better. So who do you want to be? Do you aspire to be whoever you aspire to be? And then who do you want to serve ultimately as a clientele? And there's many, many different ways to define that. The first thing is to figure out who is your target client. Who do you do your best work for? To get that kind of leads us into our next direction. So before we get there, let's back up to the very first question again. Who are you? I want you to define that. I want you to write that out. Yes, physically, in sentences and a paragraph. Write that out. That is actually one of the disciplines of the Sales and Solutions workshop. You need to know who you are as a person and as a company first. This will help you define your target client and who you want to serve. So once you have that written out of who you are, who you want to be, and who you want to serve, now you want to find the people that you do your best work for, right? So define your target client. Where do those people that you want to serve, where do they live? Are they in your neighborhood? Are they 15 minutes away, half hour away, an hour away? Where do they live? What neighborhoods do they belong to? What organizations do they belong to? Where do they play? Where do they vacation at? Where do they shop? Where do they go buy their groceries at? Where do they work? What kind of occupations do they hold? What kind of careers are they in? What kind of organizations do they belong to, both personally and professionally? And lastly, where are they? Where do they live, play, work, reside? Where do they be? Where do they belong to? Those are all things you want to make sure you ask. So the first thing again, who you are, who do you want to be, who do you want to serve? Secondly, define that target client, and then where do they, your target client, where do they live, play, work, and be? And lastly, to help you define who that target client is, think about all your past couples you've worked for, or organizations you perform for, whatever entity you typically serve right now in your mobile DJ business. Who do you do your best work for? Who do you absolutely love performing for? And is that you can have different segments here too. Maybe you really enjoy performing for teachers, but you also do corporate events, or you also do mitzvahs. Maybe you really enjoy performing for a 30-year-old bride, but hey, you'll take a 24-year-old bride and you'll also take a 36-year-old bride. But you want to really dig down deep, define, really get down to that target client you do your best work for. Now, at Tailored Weddings, my best advice to you is to dig in through your evaluation book. We have a pretty big evaluation book here at Tailored Weddings. And as long as you've been sending your evaluations out, I'm sure your clients have said words about you as a company and about how you did for them and what you created for them and everything else. So flipping through these books here, some of the questions we ask, what was the main reason you chose Tailored Weddings over other entertainment options? Personalization of the reception, exceptional service, unique talent. Now start writing out these words of your couples and what they've said about you. And then when you write them out, you'll start to see a pattern of repeating words, repeating phrases. And especially if you go through and look at all of your target client, one-stop shop. If you go back through and look at your target client, you'll see words that start repeating themselves and phrases that start repeating themselves. One-stop shop. This bride here said really reliable, okay? Complete package. Time and effort he puts into his weddings is amazing. Didn't have to worry about one thing, okay? Impressed with friend's wedding. Very, very pleased with your customer service. Personality, okay? These are all things you want to start writing down that all of a sudden just start repeating themselves. And you want to use the phrases and words that start repeating themselves as your go-to buzzwords to use in your website copy, because that was what Scott was asking about, right? Scott was asking about website copy and what to put on the website to get that bride to make that one more mouse click further. So Scott and anyone else who is looking for, gosh, what do I say to get a bride to click one more click further to get more information? Well, I would encourage you, go back through your past evaluations, actually start writing out those words and start repeating, tally them up, and then use those words in your copy, because like attracts like. And if that is your target client, you did your best work for her, and she said those things about you, then you're going to attract more brides just like her by using some of those same words she used to describe your service in your copy on the website. And that, my friend, is going to let her and make her want to go one click further to get more information about your company. Check me out, MitchTaylor.net, and you can also find out more information about our next upcoming Sales and Solutions workshop happening March 2nd in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Palms Place Boardroom. Look forward to seeing you there.
Hi, my name is Glenn Mackay. I'm a wedding entertainment director from Brisbane, Australia. My business name is G&M DJs, and today we're going to be doing the first part of a two-part series which is all about taking a booking. This isn't about initial inquiry stage. This is at the point where you may have met with the client, you may have chatted with them over the phone, however it is that you like to do that part. But this is when we get down to the nitty-gritty of they are ready to book your services for their wedding. And it's a pretty good phone call when you get that one. I know I always get pretty excited when people are happy to give me money to utilize my services. So we're going to focus mostly on weddings with this. And this is because weddings is what I do mostly. And I know a lot of DJs, weddings is the core of their business. But you can also utilize these same questions and concepts no matter what type of event you're booking. Especially some of the questions in the second part are things that you can certainly adapt to any sort of event, a school disco, a corporate event, birthday party, anything like that for sure. So basically we're going to split this into 4 different areas of questions. Two we're going to cover today, which is getting the correct contact information and also getting the correct event information. And then in the second part of this series, we're going to cover an area that I call the how and why. And the other area, the fourth area, is building trust and being helpful. So, as I said, we're going to focus mostly on weddings, and this is the point where they're ready to book you, not initial inquiry point. Although some of these details you will get through an initial inquiry, this is mostly once they're ready to book you and you want to double check those details anyway. So how much of this detail you use is entirely up to you. You might not want as many details as what I provide you. You might want more, but hopefully this gives you a little bit of background as to what you are allowed to ask for, and then you can put your own spin on that and make it your own, which is excellent. Personally, most of this happens over the phone in my business, sometimes in person at the end of a sales meeting or consultation, whatever you want to call it, but mostly it's done over the phone. After that meeting's passed and they've gone away, they've had a talk about it, then they call up ready to book you in. So most importantly on this call, be excited. This person has chosen you to help make their event a success, and they want you to be there, and they want to pay you money to be there. And that's certainly something to be excited about. So make sure you convey that over the phone. And the easiest way to do that is just smile while you're on the phone, or don't sit down, stand up and walk around, and you'll find that naturally you're more energetic when you're standing up and walking around. So the first section we're going to cover is getting the correct contact information. Now, some of these details you may already have. I know a lot of people use things like DJ Event Planner or DJ Intelligence or any of those software programs that are out there, or maybe you have your own internal system that you use. Even though they may have provided you with some details already, you want to double check those details and make sure that they're correct. And asking is going to only take an extra minute or two, and they'll be happy to give you that information because at the moment they're really happy. They've just found the entertainment for their wedding, and that's pretty exciting for them. And if you assure them that, you know, I know you've already provided me these details, but I just want to make sure I've got them 100% correct, they'll certainly be happy to help because they want you to succeed as well. So the first thing is we want to make sure we've got their names. So not just their first names, but their full names, first name and second name, or last name. And not just for the bride, but for the bride and the groom. Now, it's important that we have the spelling of their names correctly because we're going to be sending this out on a contract. We want to make sure that if it's Sarah, does it have a H on the end or does it have no H on the end? Is it Glenn with one N or two N's? Is it Christiana with a K or Christiana with a CH? You know, there's so many combinations out there, and honestly, most people are used to it being confirmed. And just confirm that spelling, read it back to them. It only takes a second, and you'll make sure that you've got it 100% correct for that contract, so that there's no potential issues with that down the track. You want to make sure you get your bride's name and your groom's name. You also want to check how to pronounce those names. Okay, so maybe Sarah is actually Sarah. You know, there's so many combinations and unique ways to say things, especially if you live in an area that has different cultures and different ways to pronounce things that's essentially spelt the same. Also, ask them what their preferred name is. Maybe their name might be Sarah, but they prefer to be called Sarah, or something, maybe Christina just prefers Chris. So check what their preferred name is to be called and then use that name. Make a note in your system that, you know, it's Christiana, but she prefers Chris. I have a client who's Isabel and Michael, and they prefer to be called Bella and Mikey. And that's fantastic because, you know, from my point of view, it's a little less formal. It's a little bit more like I have a connection with them, and that's really nice. So we're going to, first of all, check we have bride and groom's names, that they're spelled correctly, and that we're pronouncing them correctly. You also want to make sure you've got all their contact details. So phone numbers. Now, most people have a cell or a mobile phone, so make sure you've got that number for the bride and the groom. Plus, you might want to get a home contact number, perhaps even a work number. And this will sort of work out whether or not you're liaising with them, whether they're the sort of client who you can call while they're at work, or are they the sort of client you can't call while they're at work. If you can't call them at work, there's really no use having their work number, but hey, it can't hurt to ask. Also, making sure you have the correct email address for the bride and the groom. Okay, so you might do things where you want to set the groom up for something, surprise or something like that, or set the bride up for a surprise, and you want to work with just one party, and you can email them privately on that about those things. Plus, if someone changes their email or changes the phone number, you're not stuck with a number or a contact method that just doesn't work anymore. And it gives you a lot more flexibility down the track, especially with people, changing their phones all the time. So you've got an alternate contact number, an alternate email to call them on. Check that you've got their emails correct. So check the dots, check the dashes, the underscores, all those things, the .coms, the .coms.aus and .orgs and all sorts of things, as I'm sure you know. So make sure you have it spelt correctly and all the correct dots and dashes and everything like that come along with emails. Also, you want to check with them for their address, and don't just assume that they live together. I know in this day and age most brides and grooms do live together before marriage. However, there will be some that don't, so never assume that they are living together. They may find this insulting, or they may not, but I'm sure the last thing you want to do is insult your bride or your groom. So just sort of ask the question, ask it now, and they will fully understand. Also, most importantly with all of this contact information is you want to make sure that you know their preferred method of contact. So you don't want to spend a lot of time emailing them on sort of a daily, weekly or monthly basis when they don't check their email. They might only check it monthly. They might not have internet access. I know that seems strange to most of us, but there are some people who just aren't that into email. So maybe email's not the best way to liaise with them. Maybe a phone call's not the best way because they work crazy hours. You don't want to be calling them during the day if they're a shift worker. You might not want to be calling them at work if they can't answer their phone. Maybe they prefer a text message, or maybe they do just prefer a phone call. Whatever it is that works for them, and most of us have various ways. We can all text message, email, phone people. So use what is best for your client and make note of that in your DJ Event Planner, your DJ Intelligence, or whatever system you use in that client's file, so that you know how to best contact them. I have a client who we text message all the time, and personally, look, it's not how I would do business, but if that's what makes them happy, then that's making me happy as well, and that's an important thing, that our clients are happy with how we're contacting them. Also, second section that we're going to talk about is event information. So the first section, which we've just finished off, was contact information, and now we're going to talk about the actual event with them. So these are some of the details we're going to check, and you might check things in more detail. This is kind of an overview, and you can dig a little bit deeper with this, however suits you and your business setup best. So first of all, we want to check the date and the day of the week that their event is on. So we can't, if she tells you the wedding is on Saturday the 26th, let's check that the 26th is actually a Saturday. Wouldn't it be horrible if the 25th was the Saturday, the 26th was the Sunday, and just at that moment she had a bit of a brain freeze and she got mixed up, and that's perfectly understandable. So let's check that the 26th is a Saturday, that's the day she wants, and this will save you a lot of trouble down the track. Okay? You'll also want to check the venue. So you want to check the reception location and also the ceremony location, especially if you're being hired to cover both. But even if you're not being hired to cover both, checking the ceremony location is good. I know there are some venues in my area where setting up for the reception at a certain time will disrupt the ceremony. So you don't want to be disrupting their ceremony just because you've got to set up your gear. So think about that in advance. And check which room they're in at the venue. There's so many venues that have multiple rooms in the same building. So for example, if there's 3 different rooms there, you want to make sure that you're going in the right room so that you're prepared for the sound setup needed in that specific room or the lighting needed in that specific room. And also for the ceremony. Don't just assume the ceremony is at a specific spot at that location. It might be on a different area of lawn or a different building. It could be in the reception room. So ask lots of questions at this point to make sure that you know exactly what you're walking into on the day, but also that'll help you in your planning process as well as you start talking layouts of the room with your couple and how to get the best out of that wedding. for them. So the other thing we're going to talk about is event times. So we all know that times can change and be refined as things get closer to the day, but knowing if it's an evening event or if it's a morning event or a lunchtime event is very, very important. You don't want to assume it's in the evening, like most of my weddings are in the evening, receptions are in the evening, sorry, and ceremonies in the early afternoon. Perhaps this couple want a morning wedding and a sort of morning tea reception. So you don't want to be finding that out at the last minute when you've booked an event that's finishing at 2 a.m. the night before. You're not going to be at your best for their wedding, and it would be doing a disservice to them. So find out exactly, well, not exactly the times, but a rough idea of times, whether it's an evening, whether it's an afternoon, or whether it's a morning. So you also want to check out exactly what they're wanting. So in this day and age, you know, the DJ companies offering a vast variety of bits and pieces, from a basic DJ service, maybe a master of ceremony service as well, lighting, whether it be party lighting, up lighting, custom monograms and gobos, all these things. Do they want you to do the ceremony as well as the reception? Is there a photo booth? Is there a photographer, videographer? I know there's a lot of entertainment companies offering all of these things now. So find out exactly what they want. And by clarifying this, sometimes it will actually just bring to their attention the range of services that you offer. Maybe they didn't know that you offered a photo booth or uplighting. And now that they do know that, they might think of adding that in down the track. And we're going to talk a little bit later about how, in the next video, about how and why, and that will lead back into this about finding out exactly what they're wanting. So once you've clarified what they wanted, you know, double check that the price matches what they're expecting based on your previous quotes and previous conversations with them, and just make sure that everything is adding up exactly to what they want, so that at the end of that call, they're going to hang up the phone knowing exactly what they've booked, and they're not going to get to their reception and at the last minute be saying, oh, I thought we organized lighting. No, you don't want that last minute drama. So get everything clarified very, very early on. So this is why this initial booking call is so important, and we'll cover more about in the second video. We're going to cover the how and whys, and we're also going to cover how to build trust and be helpful. And they're very important aspects, but these first two sections about getting the client information correct and the event information correct are just as important, in my opinion, because the last thing we want is some small detail exploding later on. So I'm Glenn Mackay. That's the end of this video. Thank you very much. I'm from G&M DJs from Brisbane, Australia, and looking forward to bringing to you the second part of this, how to take a booking, with those sections on how and why, building trust, and being helpful. See you next time.
All right, today we're going to talk about goal setting. Specifically, we're going to talk about dreams, we're talking about visions, we're talking about goals, what's the difference, and how goal setting can actually make you successful. You see, the great part about what we do is we can be pretty much as successful as we want to be. The only limit to our success is us. But I guess the counterpart to that is, if we're going to be successful, we have to change something that we do every day. So in order to create lasting change in our lives, we have to change something that we do every single day, and that creates a lasting change. So when you talk about dreams and goals, don't be afraid to dream big. There's nothing wrong with that, but just remember that the dreams in themselves seldom ever happen. By definition, it's big, it's lofty, but having those big dreams is also the key to big thinking. Dreams are fuzzy and they're not well defined, but if you start putting a plan in place with dreams, they become visions. Visions are still a little fuzzy, but they're the middle ground between making something happen and hoping it happens. You see, visions are a little fuzzy, but they get more defined, and as you define them more and more, a plan begins to take place. An example of this is you can dream of winning the lottery, but you can't put a plan in place to make it happen. not one that's actually going to work. So it's just a dream. Now we can dream of growing our business, turn that dream into a vision, and as we keep going down this process of what are we going to do to grow our business, pretty soon we'll actually have a goal. Goals are what we need. Goals are the keys to success, and they are where the rubber meets the road. All right, so how do you set achievable goals? Well, first thing to know is that a goal is a dream with a plan and a deadline. All right? So, probably the number one rule about goals that gets overlooked is that they must be written down. You have to write your goals down or they're just not going to happen. Put them in plain view. Put them on your mirror. Put them on your computer monitor as a sticky note. Whatever it takes, but make sure that you can see them so that you're constantly reminded of what those are. So once you identify your goal, you have to be clear and specific. Your goals need a time, so they need to have a start date, and they need to have an end date. One of my goals, one of my dreams right now is to weigh less than 200 pounds. Because of all the conferences and things that are coming up, this hasn't actually become a goal yet because I don't have a time frame when I'm going to do it. And as a matter of fact, because of this video, I guess I should probably sit down and do that, shouldn't I? You want to list the obstacles to your goal. Go ahead and write down the things that will keep you from achieving your goal. List out the things that are in the way. Things that could go wrong, things that might go wrong. Look at all of them. Look at your worst case scenario. That always helps. You want to list the skills and knowledge that you need to obtain in order to reach your goal. What things do you have to do differently? What books do you have to read? How are you going to go about learning what you need to learn to make this happen? Probably one of the most important steps is to list those who can help you obtain your goal. People will help if you ask. So once you get your goal in place, think about what could go wrong. Think about what books do I need to read, what videos do I need to watch, or who do I need to contact to help me with this? Because again, people will help. All you got to do is ask. With goal setting, there has to be a very, very specific action plan because goals are reached one step at a time. It's not one giant step, it's a lot of little steps done over time. That's what allows you to reach a goal. If it's one giant step and you don't have to take the time to do a lot of little steps in between, there's a really good chance that you sold yourself short on your goal setting and your goal wasn't big enough. Another thing to write down and to take a look at is what are the benefits that you'll get if you achieve your goal? Will you make more money? Will you have more time with your family? Will you own a more successful business? Can you help more people? What do you get if you happen to obtain your goal? And then when you do those things, you have to take action every day without exception. Now, Jamie, what happens if we skip a day? Well, you simply pick up on it the next day and go from there. Every day, little steps toward reaching your goal. That's what gets you there. Once you reach your goal, scream, shout, have fun with it because it's a big deal. And when you do that, it motivates others around you to realize that they can reach their goals. So, looking back at it, in order for there to be a goal, you have to have a plan to make it happen. If you don't have a plan in place, it's either a dream or a vision. It's not a goal. All right? Got to have a plan. There are a lot of different areas in our lives that we need to set goals in. Your career, you can have goals for your career. You can have financial goals. And these two are often linked together, especially in the DJ world. My financial goals helped me to go full-time in my business, which was a career goal. You can have physical goals, such as wanting to lose weight and get into better shape, like one of the places that I am right now. Spiritual goals, intellectual goals, social goals, and goals for your family. But you need to kind of balance all of those out. Those are, what, 7 areas? Social, career, financial, spiritual, physical, intellectual, and family. So you got to kind of balance all of those out so that your wheel is round, if you will. Zig Ziglar came up with a goals wheel that's a great illustration of this. And I'll put that in here for you guys when I'm doing the video. But it just shows all the areas of our lives where we need to have goals, because honestly, cars don't run well on a flat tire. Another way to look at goal setting is that you have to set SMART goals. And SMART is an acronym. Your goals have to be specific, they have to be measurable, they have to be attainable, they have to be relevant, and they have to be time-bound. Okay, so specific. Your goal has got to be very specific. I want to lose weight is not a goal. I want to weigh less than 200 pounds by January 1st of 2015. That's a goal. I want to get in better shape. Not a goal. I'm going to join a health club and work out 3 days a week, every week. That's a goal. So they've got to be very specific. Goals also have to be measurable. You have to have like concrete criteria to find out whether you're moving towards your goal or not. So you have to be able to look at where you're at and make sure that you're moving in the direction that you want to do. Maybe it's, I want to grow my business, and you would be tracking the numbers of your business over time to see if it's actually growing. Are you bringing in more money? If increasing your gross revenue was part of your goal, or if increasing your number of events was part of your goal, you need to be tracking that. It's because you need to know how much or how many so that you can know how much you've accomplished, and you can know when you've accomplished what you set out to do. That's the S, specific, M, measurable. The A is attainable. Goals should be lofty, but not so lofty that they're completely unattainable. So don't sell yourself short, but be careful that the goal that you're setting is attainable for you. And if you're looking to do, let's say the goal in my business was to do $5 million in gross revenue a year. That's not an attainable goal for me right now. I should set a lower goal, reach that goal, and then set another goal to keep moving up towards doing the amount of business that I want to do per year. So you got to make sure that your goals are measurable as well. Your goals have to be realistic. You have to know what you're willing and able to do. Your goal should be both high and realistic. You're the only one who can really decide what is realistic and what isn't. But make sure that every goal represents substantial progress, and don't be afraid to put, I'm going to call them mini goals, in between your goals so that you can track what you're doing and what is going on. And your goals need to be timely. Goals should be grounded within a time frame. If there's no time frame to it, then there's no sense of urgency, and the can will get kicked down the road until the goal is completely gone. If you don't have this time frame set, you won't achieve your goals. It's okay not to reach a goal and to set a new timeline, but you need to be going back through the entire process and looking at, okay, this is where I should be now. You should be tracking what you're doing, measuring how things are going, so you know along the way, if half of the time has elapsed and I'm not halfway towards my goal, I need to step things up a little bit, and you're just creating a plan. All you're doing is modifying your plan as you go so that you actually reach your goal. Another thing that the T can stand for is tangible. If your goal is tangible, if you can see it, touch it, taste it, smell it, any of those things, then there's a much greater chance that you'll actually attain the goal. So look at your goals, lay them out, and make sure that what you're doing is actually moving you towards your goal. Remember, they need to be specific, they need to be measurable, they need to be attainable, they need to be realistic, and they have to have a sense of time and be tangible. If you do these things and you set your goals well, reaching the goals are so much easier than if you're just out there floundering around hoping that something is just going to land in your lap. Here's a great example that happened in our lives just a few years ago. Yesterday was the 4-year anniversary of us becoming debt-free. And when we were starting down that path, we had a ton of debt, about $100,000. And we set goals along the way that were to pay off individual bills one at a time. And so the larger goal was to become debt-free, but in between that, we celebrated each one of our mini wins as we paid off a creditor or a credit card or things along those lines. There's a ton of stuff out there to look into goal setting, and I recommend that you look into people. Again, I always bring up Zig Ziglar, always bring up Dave Ramsey, people that really do a great job of outlining how you can do a fantastic job of setting goals that are attainable, because when you start setting goals, your business will grow, your family will be better, family life will be better, and everything moves in the direction that you want to. If you don't have goals, we kind of just flounder around. So make sure that you're setting goals and that you're moving in the direction that you want to move, because if you move in the direction that you want to move long enough, one day you look up and you're where you wanted to be. All right, I'll see you guys next time.
So in the first part of this lesson, we talked about prompts and we talked about hand clapping and singing along. So why am I coming to you in an apron with a spatula? Because before I get further into prompting, there's a visual and an analogy that I want you to think of when you think of prompting, and that is the word seasoning. I love to grill. I'm a typical guy. I love going out to my barbecue and doing the grilling, and I like to buy myself a nice big steak, slap it on the grill and enjoy it. When I do that, I sprinkle a little seasoning on, right? I don't empty everything that's in the spice cabinet onto that steak, because then I've wasted, $15 on a nice steak. You're not gonna taste it, or you're gonna taste the spices. When it comes to prompting, think of the same analogy. Use it just like you do seasoning with good food. You sprinkle a prompt in here, you sprinkle a prompt, you do a hand clapping rap, you do a sing-along rap, you do a few of the other ones that I'm gonna show you here. You're not doing every single song, hey, sing along, hand clap. It's not every single song. All you're doing is trying to enhance the flavor, much like you do with seasoning. You're just trying to enhance the flavors of different songs throughout the night. So that's a great analogy to think of so you don't over-prompt. Okay, so we talked about the basics, hand clapping and singing along. There are a lot of other types of prompts you can use. We played the song The Twist by Chubby Checker a lot. And a great prompt that you can use during the twist is getting everybody twisting up on one leg and then down to the ground. I'm going to show you a clip of me doing that. But first I want to point out two things. First of all, if you know the song well enough, listen to where I do the prompts. I do the prompts well into the song during the instrumental break. I think it's actually a saxophone solo. So this way I'm not competing. My voice isn't competing with Chubby Checker singing along. So if you want to do a prompt like this and you've got an instrumental break of a song, always a better spot to do it in so that you can be heard better as an MC. And then the second thing, just like I pointed out earlier, I give a reward. After I get everybody twisting down to the ground, I say looking good. I forget exactly what I say, but I say looking good. I give them a reward. And as I pointed out, that's always going to guarantee you'll get a better response if you compliment them on doing what you ask them to do.
All right, twisters, let me see you up on one leg. Twist it nice and high, one leg in the air. Twist it up, try the other leg. And how low can you go? Everybody take it down to the ground. Twist it down, looking good.
Getting the guests to throw their hands in the air is another great prompt. I'm going to show you a clip here of me doing that during Dynamite. Now again, you might say, well, why do you have to do it during Dynamite? The song tells everybody to throw your hands in the air. Again, I'm the MC at the party. I don't want anybody giving a prompt but me. Check it out.
Let me see those hands up, come on.
I throw my hands up in the air sometimes, saying, ayo, gotta let go.
You can also have guests throw their hands in the air just during a high energy moment of a song. Here I am doing that with Living on a Prayer. it's a Jersey thing. We do play that song a lot. Jumping is another prompt you can do. It's another command you can ask the guests for. It's a great tension release. So if you've got a moment of a song that's kind of building and building and building, and then you get everybody to jump, great visual, just a great tension release at that party. I have to laugh when I see this clip because I'm a big Michael Franti fan. My wife and I have been to see him a number of times, and he does this a few times throughout his concerts, and he says exactly what I say here. He says, "I want to see you jumping." So apparently, subliminally, I've picked that up from Michael Franti, and I've basically stolen it word for word. But check it out. This is me getting everybody jumping at a party.
Want to see you jumping?
I want to go back and show that last clip again, because if you notice, before I even gave the command to jump, there were already people kind of jumping in the crowd. Now, obviously, more people did it, and people did it more enthusiastically after I said to jump. But it reminded me, I read the Paul Stanley book, the lead singer of Kiss, a couple months ago, and there was something that he said, and that's why I'm going to read this because I want to get it right. He talked about when he, as the lead singer of Kiss, would get out there and get the crowd to sing along or jump or scream or do anything. He wrote in the book, "I realized that if I asked people to do things that they already wanted to do, I came across as omnipotent. I was in control and people responded to that." When I see this clip, I'm going to show it to you again and watch that. When I see this clip and I see that some people were already jumping, but then I said, "Let me see you jumping," and more people jumped, and those people that were already jumping did it more enthusiastically. I thought about that Paul Stanley line. It is true. If you played "We Are Family" at a party and didn't say a word, some people would sing along. But the fact that you give them that prompt, more people sing along, and the people who would have anyway, subliminally, in the back of their mind, you're omnipotent. You've given them permission to do something. You've asked them to do something that they were already going to do anyway, and you come across as the MC, you come across as completely in control, and people like that at a party. I think it's a very effective technique. Check it out again.
Want to see you jumping?
Another obvious spot for jumping is any song that has jump in the title. So here I am with House of Pain's Jump Around. I kind of give a double prompt here. I get everybody turn around and face the stage because I had seen that the videographer was up on the stage. And then I get everybody hands in the air and I get them jumping. So check it out. It's kind of a double prompt, if you will.
Everybody turn around, face the stage. Face our video camera. Pick 'em up, pick 'em up. Jump around. Let me hear ya. Jump up, we get down. Everybody jump.
Guys, pretty good, huh? One of the goals of prompting is to fill in the gaps of a song where the energy goes down. If anybody's ever spun at a nightclub, you understand that those moments are actually good. They're natural, and you should let them happen. At a nightclub, you let the energy go out of the room every once in a while because the bar manager wants people going back to the bar and buying more alcohol, and it helps for revenue and it helps everything else. But our goals at a private party are different than that. We don't need those moments where the energy gets out of the room. We as MCs want to keep the energy as much as possible. There are a few songs that I can think of that have as much of an energy drop as Shout. If you use the version of Shout from Animal House, it's got that spot where everything dives out of it. And as an MC, it's a good opportunity to fill in that gap. I'm going to show you a clip here of Dominic Sestito doing a great job with that. He gets a round of applause for the parents of the bride, parents of the groom, and then the bride and groom themselves. And it's just a great way to fill in that gap, which would otherwise be a real downer at a party.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get another big round of applause for the parents of the bride this evening. Let's hear it for Richard and Maru. And of course, another big hand for the parents of the groom. Let's hear it for Danny and Sam. And we cannot forget the people we came here to celebrate for today. Make a little noise for Anthony and Jennifer on
Air guitar is one of my favorite prompts to do. All you have to do is find a danceable rock song that has a great guitar solo, and again, timing here is essential. Make sure you give that, who's gonna play some air guitar, or let me see you play air guitar, whatever prompt you use, give that prompt just as the guitar solo is starting, and you should get some amazing results. Check it out.
Who's gonna play some air guitar?
That was the father of the bride, by the way, so that was a pretty cool moment. Let's talk about giveaways at a party. Not every DJ uses them, and not every client wants them. We offer them to clients. Some clients take them, some clients don't. But when clients do take them, there's two ways you can handle them. You can just give them out and hope people have fun with them, or you can use a prompt and maximize that moment. Here's an example. I had given out Lays, and we were giving out maracas at a party, and instead of just handing them out, I made a moment out of it. I made a memorable moment. I had a videographer there, and he captured it. So check it out. Lays and maracas in full use.
If you got a lay on, take it off, wave it high above your head. We got some maracas going out too. Wave those lays in the air. Woo!
Here's another one with the giveaways. We use Sherman and we buy those disco sticks. And another great, we usually give them out late in the party. And again, instead of just handing them out and hoping people have a good time with them, we try to maximize the moment. Check it out, this is Rich Savage.
If you got a glow stick, let's go. Wave it high and sing.
By the way, we love those disco sticks. We love Sherman for providing them for us. There's something about the disco stick, the shape, the cylindrical shape of them that, I don't know, it reminds some women of something. It reminds some women of maybe something they might be envious of. Check out this very funny clip. Another great prompt when you have a videographer is just asking the guest to turn around and face the videographer, maybe wave their hands or wave goodbye or just anything like that. It creates a great shot for the videographer and can also peak the energy in the room. Here's a clip of me doing just that. The main reason I did this one was this was a wedding where it was a good wedding, but the bride wasn't on the dance floor that much throughout the night. She was busy, going around to the tables, and she was over in the photo booth for a while. So I noticed that not only was the bride on the dance floor, but she was on the dance floor right in front of the videographer. So I said to myself, bingo, here's a great moment to kind of create an opportunity, a great clip, a great image, and this is what came of it.
Everybody face the DJ table, face our videographer Tom. Hands in the air, put them up. Put them up, put them up.
And just to show you that you can use this type of prompt facing the videographer and peaking the energy in a lot of different songs, here I am doing the same thing with Twist and Shout.
We need everybody to face the video camera. Everybody turn around, face our video, hands up.
Facing the videographer is a great moment at the end of the party. Here's Dominic Sestito doing that. He gets everybody to turn around and face the videographer and point and sing along as the last song of the night. A great clip.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, turn to Tommy with the video camera. Point at him and sing it now.
when it comes to ending a party, I always prefer to end on an upbeat song, on a high note, high energy. But as we all know, some clients choose to end with a slow song, which is fine. It's their prerogative. Doesn't mean you still can't do a turnaround and face the video camera and wave goodbye. Here's a clip of me doing that at a recent wedding. The bride and groom had selected a slow song to end with. I noticed that my videographer had positioned himself right by the bride and groom. So I turn around, I have everybody turn and get that shot. You'll also notice one other thing, and this is something I can thank Randy Bartlett for suggesting something like this. I get a round of applause for the bride and groom, but I never say clap or applaud for them or anything else. It's really just a matter of the inflection in my voice. I say their name, and the way I say it is enthusiastic enough to get a pretty good response. Check it out.
Can we ask everybody to face our video camera? Far side of the room, face our video. Hands in the air, wave them back and forth. Ladies and gentlemen, the brand new Mr. and Mrs. Timothy Burko.
All right, here's the final clip I'm going to show you. This is probably, I go through a lot of raw footage. I edit demos of my DJs, and so I'm constantly looking through raw footage. And as I've done that through the years, this is probably the proudest I have ever been looking at footage. One of my DJs by the name of Dan was doing a wedding, and I don't want to tell you whether it was a good wedding or bad wedding, but I'll tell you this. Older bride and groom, older crowd, not a lot of guests, afternoon wedding. I think you can pretty much figure it out. But Dan never gave up on him. As I was watching this video footage, he kept plugging away and he kept trying to get people dancing, and he'd create some moments at the party before, we'd lose everybody on the dance floor. And I was incredibly proud. I have always said, you define yourself as a DJ not by how you do at great parties, but how you do at mediocre to bad parties. I mean, let's be honest. There are some crowds that are just going to party no matter what. You might, as a DJ, if you're great, you might take them from an 8 to a 10. They were going to be great anyway. They were going to have an awesome time anyway. But it's those crowds that are just not going to party. It's those crowds that just, And if you can take them from a 0 to a 4, you've done a lot of work. And that's where I'm proudest as a DJ. I don't love those parties because they can be a little frustrating, but that's where I'm proudest as a DJ. And when I look at video footage of my DJs, that's where I'm proud of them. So this is a shot of Dan Fumosa at that type of party. He was plugging away. I think he throws about 5 different prompts in here, which is phenomenal. And he creates a moment, and that's the thing. We had our video company there, so he wanted to create a moment that would go down on video and make it look like this was a phenomenal party all day long. It wasn't. There were a couple of moments that he created, and this is one of them. Check it out.
All right, let's close this circle in. Bring it on in nice and close around your bride and groom. Everyone sing along, hands together. Turn and face the camera. Let's give a nice wave to the camera. Everyone say hi.
I've thrown a lot of video footage at you and a lot of great examples of prompting. Just to kind of recap, obviously this is something, seasoning again, you should sprinkle in throughout the party. Not every song is a sing-along and a hand clap and a wave your hands in the air and face up. Not every song. You sprinkle these moments in throughout the party so that people hear your voice, so that every once in a while you peak some energy in the party. And if you do it well, and if you time it perfectly, you come across as a seasoned MC and professional, and let's face it, isn't that everyone's goal? Good luck.
Hi, this is Glenn Mackay from G&M DJs. I'm a wedding entertainment director in Brisbane, Australia, and this is part 2 of the Taking a Booking video series. So in part 1 we covered off how to get contact information all correctly. Also we spoke very quickly about event information, making sure we had all the correct event information, from that client so that we were fully prepared as we started into the planning process of their event. Now, as I mentioned in the first video, this is not questions you should ask when you're doing an initial inquiry. However, some of these in part 2 might come up as part of an initial consultation or sales meeting, depending on whatever term you want to put on that. So keep in mind that these next set of questions, which is the how and why questions, and also the building trust and being helpful questions, some of these might come up in that initial consultation. Now, how and why. So these are questions to help you get a little bit more insight into that bride. Now, the questions earlier in part 1 were all very straightforward. We're just generating information, questions about their event and questions about them, stuff they quickly and easily can rattle off to you. This one is delving a little bit deeper, and these aren't going to be simple one-word answers. For example, the first question in the how and why section is, how did you find out about our company? So this question is one that you certainly might ask in the initial inquiry stage so that you sort of have a bit of insight going into that meeting. However, no matter when you ask it, it's going to tell you a lot of valuable information. So most importantly, it's going to tell you what advertising or marketing you are doing that is working. So that's a good thing. We all spend money on marketing, which sometimes you just never know where it's going to end up, if it's going to work, if it's not going to work. So this is going to tell you exactly what is working for that particular client and what attracted her to you, or him. So as I mentioned earlier in video 1, we're talking mostly about weddings here, so I'll refer to brides and grooms mostly. So you should be able to keep track of where your marketing dollars are working and also where they're not working. So this is going to show you how long various types of marketing take to work, such as how long after a wedding show or a bridal expo, whatever you want to call them, are those brides following through and booking your services, or how long after a particular magazine ad is placed is it still effective, or is that Facebook promo that you're doing is that working in a timely manner? Is it attracting brides? Is it not? So I know for us, having a magazine ad, sometimes, like, we haven't placed a magazine ad in years, yet we still get brides saying they saw our ad in a magazine, because brides pass those magazines on to each other, on to friends, on to siblings who may be getting married. Also, this will help track things, like I said, so you're going to know directly, instantly, if that Facebook promo is working, or maybe it's a friend of a friend. Whoever it is, you're knowing where your work's coming from. And also allow you to keep track of if particular forms of marketing are attracting particular types of brides. For example, maybe your referrals from a certain professional sort of wedding photographer are always the types of brides that you love to work with, whereas referrals from another photographer end up being brides that are hard to work with, and just those clients that you really want to dodge because they're just totally unbearable. So look at which inquiries are coming from where, and where your preferred type of brides are coming from. Or maybe the brides booking you after attending an open night or a showcase event know more about what they want, so they can quickly and easily deal with you a little bit better. In any event, this data is built up over time, and it'll certainly come in handy. Now, if that booking is from a referral, this allows you to know which of your past clients are singing your praises. So this means you can follow the past client up with a thank you letter, or a small gift card, or a high five, depending on how you operate. Also, maybe the referral came from another wedding professional. Again, this allows you to follow it up. Once again, maybe a small note, a gift card, certainly a thank you note to thank them for that referral and to let them know you're looking forward to working with them again, assuming you are looking forward to working with them again. And so finding out what forms of marketing are working is very, very important. And this will obviously help your business, because you don't want to be wasting money on marketing that is simply not working. So another question to ask in the how and why is, what made you decide to book our company? Now, the answers your clients are going to give you to this question will give you all sorts of information. It's an amazing insight into the mind of a bride or a groom, and will certainly help you to better serve them. So part of this is, it's going to tell you what was it that most influenced their decision. So it could be something you hadn't even thought of. It could be it could be just something that helps you pinpoint a specific marketing strategy that is definitely working, or at least worked on that particular person. It also gives you an insight into how that person buys or is influenced, which may help you if you want to upsell things to them, like uplighting or photo booths, ceremony sound, videography packages, any of these things that DJs offer these days. So knowing how that person buys, and it could be that they liked your Facebook. So maybe posting photos on Facebook with your uplighting is going to help convince that bride down the track that uplighting might be a good idea for her wedding. Or quite possibly they went to a wedding and saw a DJ and that's all they want, is just the DJ, and they saw your DJ there and that's why they wanted them. Whatever that reason is, that's the main influence of them purchasing from you or booking you, that's important to know and understand. You'll also find out a lot, and I mean a lot, about what your competitors are doing. And because that particular bride or groom has thought about it, they've gone through it all, they've just called the competitors most likely. Unless they've just seen you at another wedding and absolutely loved you and want to book you, they've probably done the ring around or they've searched online. Either way, they have been researching, because that's what brides do. No doubt online. So they're going to tell you all sorts of things. And to give an example, these are some of the things that we've heard over the last few years since we've been asking this question. Some people have booked us simply because our competitors didn't answer their phone. Seriously, they didn't pick up the phone. How people can run a business and not answer the phone blows me away. But some brides are all about, they just want to book something. They just need to get it done. And if you answer the phone, if you answer their questions on the phone, you'll get that booking. It has nothing to do with price. Maybe the other DJ didn't return their calls. That's another reason we've had. We've had brides tell us that they booked us simply because no one else sent them a quote. They've called 5 DJs and nobody sent them a quote. We've had a booking simply because as soon as the guy called, he asked if we do gay events. And I said, certainly, why not? And he said he had called a dozen other DJs in my city, and as soon as they heard it was a gay guy's 21st birthday, they didn't want to even think about doing it. And I tell you what, that event ended up being quite spectacular. I've never seen a grand entrance to a Twilight theme at a 21st birthday before for a guy, but I tell you what, they know how to party, and we had a great night celebrating with them. Also, another reason that brides might book us over competitors, we've been told, is that we called the bride the right name. They called the bride the wrong name. Once again, this hails back a little bit to video 1 where we spoke about checking what the bride's full name is and how to pronounce it. Okay, so if her name's Christiana and you call her Christina, she's not going to be too happy with that. So some of the other things that our brides have told us is the other DJs were too cheap or too expensive. Maybe their website looked old or dodgy or hard to navigate, or they didn't answer their phone professionally. Simply picking up the phone and saying hello is often not the best way to win over a prospective bride or groom. They want to be assured that they're booking a professional service, and a simple hello or, this is Max Plumbing, probably not going to go down well if Max Plumbing also is Max DJ Service, but he answered it with plumbing and probably just lost a client. Maybe they saw DJ XYZ at a friend's wedding and just knew they did not want that DJ and just wanted to book something completely different to that service that they'd seen at their friend's wedding or family member's wedding. We've had clients book us just because we accept credit card. Sometimes a lot of DJs are very small businesses and don't offer that facility here. But in this day and age, through PayPal and all sorts of other options, you can certainly offer credit card at a reasonable cost. And seriously, people have booked us just because we offered credit card. Kind of weird, I think, but hey. Also, maybe the other DJ just didn't offer what we offered. Maybe the other DJ didn't do uplighting, but that client really wanted uplighting, so that's got us an uplighting booking and a DJ booking from the same client. Or the other DJ just wouldn't meet with me, and because we took the time to meet with them, they booked us. So either way, they're going to tell you about this. And when they're telling you all about why they booked your services and why they didn't book someone else, the most important thing you can do is shut up. Just let them talk. Sit there, take notes, let them talk, let them vent. And no doubt you'll be talking to a bride, and she's had all sorts of dramas trying to find a DJ who will answer the phone and do what she wants, and meet sort of somewhere near her budget maybe, or just meet with her. And she's had no doubt a lot of trouble trying to find someone to do this. So, and most likely her fiance, he doesn't want to hear about it. As long as the DJ's booked, he doesn't care. So she's going to love the opportunity to vent to you her frustrations at this, because you've helped her. You're the one she's decided. So already you're on her team. So she'll tell you all sorts of weird and wonderful things about your competitors. And at the same time, she's going to be telling you why she booked you. So you're going to be finding out what's working for you. Okay, maybe it did work for you that you took the time to meet her at a location that was convenient to her. You didn't make her drive an hour across town to meet with you. Maybe you were able to show her pictures. Maybe you were able to show her video. These are the things she's going to tell you because you're taking the time to talk to her. And look, brides love to talk about their wedding. And most people, her friends are sick of hearing about it. Her fiance is probably sick about hearing it too. But sit there and listen to it, and you'll learn a lot, and you'll certainly get in her good books. And just let her go on as much as she wants. Just take notes, be quiet, agree with her, and take in that valuable information. So that's the how and why section. The next section we're going to move on to is building trust and being helpful. So these next questions are all about helping develop trust with your client. And this is the first step towards ensuring that your client knows that you'll be there to help them, and that the success of their wedding is important to you as well. So the question we're going to ask here is, can you help them by finding any other wedding professionals? Now, no doubt you already have a fabulous network of wedding professionals that you can refer at a moment's notice. So why not put this into practice? And these are most likely the people that you prefer to work with. So let's help the bride and groom find a great supplier. Plus, the added bonus is you get to work with those suppliers that you enjoy working with. It's a win-win situation. And who knows, they might even shoot you a nice thank you card or a gift voucher or a couple of high fives to make it worth your time referring them on. It doesn't cost you anything to refer somebody work, and it always comes back one way or another to you. Even if your client says no, that they don't need any help, that they've got everyone sorted, at least they know that they can rely on you for that information. They know that you have a fabulous network of wedding professionals that you can refer them to if one of theirs pulls out at the last minute, or they're just not confident with another supplier. Maybe their photographer's frustrating them. They might come to you and ask so that you can refer them on. Another question you might like to ask: is there any aspect of their entertainment or wedding in general that they're concerned about? So firstly, this is going to let you know if there's any aspect of your service that they're concerned about. Now, most likely this is the first time that they've planned a wedding, and maybe the first time they've ever hired a DJ. So they're no doubt nervous about the success of their wedding, and you want them to be 100% confident in your services. So let them ask questions and then reassure them that with your answers that you're going to be able to deliver the service they're requesting, that you're going to be able to deliver that to them and ensure that their night is a success. Don't promise them things you can't deliver, but just make sure that they're 100% confident in booking your services. And secondly, you may be able to use your experience at a wedding to help solve a problem that they might have. Maybe they don't know the best way to lay out the room, or they're stuck on creating a nice timeline for the night. And this is all stuff that you can certainly help with. Or if you can't help them, you're probably able to refer them on to someone who can help them. And this will certainly help win them over, build trust, and it's definitely being helpful. So you're the expert in your client's eyes at this point, and they love that ability to tap into your knowledge. And at this point, you're well on your way to having a client that will rave about you before, during, and after your event. And when you've got clients who are desperately trying to sell you to other people before an event, it's certainly a powerful position to be in. So that wraps up part 2 of our 2-part series on details to ask and questions to ask when taking a booking. So keep in mind that this phone call to a client is a very important call. So be sure to remember to be excited about being on the phone to them. Remember, they're paying you money to be at their wedding, so that's a great thing. And so not only is this information going to help you gather all the essential information you need, but you'll learn a lot about what's working for you, what isn't working for you, what your bride thinks about you and your competitors, and it will definitely help you build trust with your clients, which is just, you can't put a price on that. It's incredibly valuable. So thank you very much. I'm signing off now. This is Glenn from G&M DJs in Brisbane. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next video.
Hey, what's up everybody? It's DJ Jer here with DJ Jer Events and Lighting Design in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and you're watching virtual training. The reason I'm coloring is I want to actually point something out to you, and we're going to talk about how this affects the lighting that you do. So first of all, as you can see, when I'm coloring here, I have strokes going this way, I have strokes going that way, going this every other direction. And the reason I'm pointing this out to you is just when you look at art or you look at a kid's coloring, typically the kids who are winning coloring contests, all of their lighting goes in the same direction, or all of the coloring goes in the same direction. When you start having some of this other direction stuff happening, then that's where you start having conflicts with lines, and you start having conflicts with contrasting patterns when it comes to lighting. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you some of the things to think about when you're working on your lighting when it comes to textures, patterns, or just multiple lines when working with lighting options. So I'm going to show you some examples and show you exactly what I'm talking about. As you can see with this photo, the contrasting colors are actually very similar. You have a very warm white with the textures and the pattern, and then we also did a wash. And the reason we did the wash is because, again, you don't want conflict in lines coming from your uplighting and lines coming from your textures and your patterns. And the fact that they are similar in color, it does allow you to actually do a nice color mix between the pattern and the color itself that you're using to wash. On this next pattern, this is actually the entryway into a building, and by using a wider beam or using more of a linear effect, we could actually create a purple that didn't feel like it was, again, cutting into the pattern. It just kind of blends into the pattern, starting from the bottom, obviously, and then as it goes further up, it creates more of that fade out effect or that wash effect, giving the texture or the pattern a little bit more prominence towards the top of the image. This next picture is actually the same exact facility, same exact style, but instead what we did with this one was we used a couple different textures, a couple different colors to create the feel that we were going for. So you can see the shades of pink. That's actually just a regular uplight, and all we did was back it away from the draping a little bit and aimed it at an angle, and then we did the red on the bottom part, so that way you can see the nice red towards the bottom. It blends in with the texture, and it doesn't conflict with the texture, and then as the red fades into the purple, it just creates a beautiful ambiance with the colors that they were using for this event. And again, the colors never create a linear effect going into the textures or the swirls in that pattern. Okay, so you'll notice that this pattern is probably one of my favorite patterns that we have. And what we did with this is, you can see in the floor itself, we actually put that pattern on the floor, but then we also use it in the background. In the very center where the pattern is at, we're actually using a wash, and then on both sides, the left and the right side, you can actually see the just regular uplighting to kind of create the rest of the room, because the rest of the room is actually just regular uplight. So it goes from a fade, and you can see in this picture, you can see it a little bit more, and also in the head table, we just did regular uplighting. But as you can see in the center, it's more of the wash, and then it goes into a semi-wash, into more of an uplighting, and then the rest of the room actually creates an uplighting. So that way, again, we're not conflicting with the pattern or the texture that's in the back behind the head table. Now, this next pattern, I want to talk to you a little bit about actual monograms and things. And the reason it's important not to cut into your monograms is, again, the same thing. You don't want to have this beautiful flowing monogram and then these very straight lines cutting through the monogram. And using the same pattern, we had to clip off the top, clip off the bottom of the pattern, and using that nice wash effect all the way across. Again, it doesn't create any conflicts with lines or anything within the patterns or the textures that we're using. And again, allowing that monogram to really pop and just doing more of a wash color across that as opposed to a regular straight up light or straight light going up the wall type thing. Same thing, this is a corporate using a linear effect. We actually use the Chauvet color strips for a lot of our wash and actually all of our wash. And you can see, again, using those wash lights, it creates a nice texture on the brick. This is actually an old, I shouldn't say an old, this is a new warehouse building for a communications company, and they host servers and things, and so it's completely hurricane proof, even though we don't have hurricanes in my area. But what they did was they had this grand opening for this event, and by using the wash lights, we actually created a beautiful texture that was already in the wall, and that's just from the cinder blocks itself, and then also the ceiling and so on. But with the logo, we didn't want to create any conflicts with the logos, and sometimes what we'll do if they don't want to wash, they want to do just uplighting, we'll V the different monograms apart. And I'll show you that here in this next picture. But again, this is a nice corporate logo just with the beautiful wash and the colors that this corporate client actually uses. Now, like I was saying with the monograms, if you're doing uplighting, what we like to do is, you can see here in this picture, the V in the lighting actually goes around the image and not through the image. Same thing here, simple monogram over the head table. By creating that V effect with the uplighting, again, it doesn't conflict, it doesn't cut into the monogram, and it gives it a nice clean look. Now let's talk a little bit about monograms one more time here. This is a monogram that actually has some texture and pattern built into the monogram, and again, using that wash effect, it's just a clean look. But with this monogram, you can see that using just regular uplighting, it wasn't going to work, because if we V'd it so much, then it might look a little awkward for this size of room. And with this room, we also had to use wash lighting through the entire room, just because inside this room it's so broken up, and if we would have done up lighting, it really would have been a distraction with the lighting. It wouldn't really enhance this building. It would have more created a conflict with the building. So again, you have to know your facilities, know your textures and your walls, know what you're working with, and then also if you're having anything such as patterns, monograms, just make sure you're familiar with those. The last thing I want to talk to you about is draping. When you're washing and draping, again, I try to stay away from any type of just regular straight up uplighting when it comes to draping, just because that wash effect really gets it a nice full look. And then you can see the logo of this this corporate event we did right in the middle, and just really makes it pop, and it looks nice, isn't causing distraction. So hopefully this information has been helpful for you. If you guys have questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me at jeremy@djjrshoptime.com. Thanks for watching Virtual Training, and we'll see you guys next time.